Hi, Carla. How are you doing? Did you have a great weekend? Soccer mom of one. Good evening. Easily distracted. Did we all have a great weekend? Sorry, I'm trying to clean my glasses off. My son was just in here, and he put little fingerprints all over my glasses for me. Yay. Okie dokie. Oh, wow, I made it on time. Hey, Will. Hello, okie dokie. Yes, fine. And you? Not bad. Not bad. I went out to eat last night to an actual restaurant, and I got to sit down and enjoy a meal. It was just by myself, but I got to go try Korean food. I had a I don't know what I don't. It was some kind of salmon thing. I don't know what it really was. I was reading the menu and I'm like, I'll take the number 13. It was a lot of food, but hi, Judy. Welcome to the stream, Judy. I hope you had a great weekend. But I finally got to go out and enjoy an actual meal in a restaurant. It's first time in a long time that I've been able to do something like that. It was a spur of the moment thing. I went and saw a friend of mine, and who I hadn't seen in probably 4 months, but got to go and stopped and seen him, and then it's like, you know what, I've wanted to go there. They're open. I'm gonna go try it out. I don't eat a lot of Korean food, so I thought I'd give it a shot, and it was actually really good. Right card. Welcome, Kevin. Good morning, good evening from South Carolina. Soccer mom of one. Can't do that here. We are at stay-at-home orders. I'm jealous you got to go out. Well, where we have been in that where restaurants are open and they closed them down, and then they opened them up and then they closed them down, that right now they are open again. But this was a small independent restaurant. I think they have a total staff of maybe 5. It was really nice. I think they had every other table open, and they were spread out. So they had a steadfast number on how many people could be in the establishment and how many they would seat. But it was still nice. Glam Nail Beauty. Hello from California. Hello, California. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. Still on waiting list to get the first dose. Figured, well, 1 more year. We have a mass vaccination clinic where you make an appointment and you go to it, and you never even have to get out of your car to get it. And I'm on the waiting list for that. I think they are doing 50 or 70. It's one of the two shots per day, and the spots fill up pretty quickly. And then the next group is on the waiting list for the next day. So I might get my shot Tuesday or Wednesday. So Korean pancakes are the bomb. They're so delicious. I didn't have anything with that was like pancakes necessarily. I had it was kind of like a bento box. I don't know if you've ever had those, but the entire meal was kind of like, sectioned out like that. There was a soup that I had that was, beforehand, that was really kind of an odd texture. It on the tongue, it felt like it had like seeds in it, but when you bit down on one of them, they popped and they're full of juice. I don't know what it was, but they were just tiny little things, like smaller. They're smaller in size than the tip of an ink pen. Little, like, I thought they were seeds, but they were pretty good though. The soup was, but it had a little bit of a spice to it. It had like a green pepper in it. Not jalapenos, but they were a spicy pepper. But overall, I have to say that I enjoyed the entire meal. Got the receipt right here. With tip and everything. $27. $27 for the meal. That was with tip. Ooh, Mr. Frosty, I'm playing poker on Twitch. I'm crossing streams, LOL. Texas Hold'em there, Mr. Frosty? That's what I play online. Just for fun. I don't play for like real money or anything. Zagna, Texas Hold'em. But I haven't played in a while. I think it's probably been a couple months. Soccer Mom is in Canada. Judy's in Canada. Got my first dose right here where I live, because the manager of the building is a hero times a lot. What was that? 1 million. I just lost to Quad Jacks in Hold'em. I actually follow an actual real. He's I guess you call him a semi-pro, Texas Hold'em. Or no, he's a professional, because he's actually been in the World Series of Poker. I follow him on Twitter and on YouTube. It's interesting, because he gets way into it a lot more than I ever will. Like betting charts and all this, other algorithms, like when to bet. People that are first, big blind +1. He uses a lot of terminology I wouldn't necessarily understand. It'd be like, okay, I know small blind, big blind. What is big blind +1? Oh, so it's okay. So now you have to figure out which person he's talking about at the table. He arranged for a reputable hospital to vaccinate us. That is super cool. For a building manager, you're right. He is a hero. That's cool. We're gonna start the trivia here in just another minute or so. Down 200, no quit. As long as you don't spend more than you can afford. If you're playing with real money, Mr. Frosty, don't ever spend more than you can afford. Damn straight. I don't know if you guys ever know this or not, but I'll tell you anyways. I used to work in a casino. I was a blackjack dealer, and then I didn't like it. Didn't like dealing cards. So I actually became a floor boss, pit boss. And I did that for about a year. And I eventually it got to me, because I kept on watching people lose everything that they had. And you watch people shouldn't be spending money in a casino. They shouldn't be in the casino. Lose money. It gets to you after a while. And I was just like, nope, I'm out of here. That's it. Done with this. I'm never doing this again. You have one viewer. You still don't qualify for the shot, Soccer Mom? That sucks. I woke up and I couldn't sleep anymore. And it's 4:10 in the morning there, Carla. Oh. Well, we're going to start trivia now, Carla. So everybody put on your thinking caps. I'm not sure which one to start off with. I mean, the first question I have written down, I'm going to skip over, and we're going to go to the second question first because it's kind of disturbing to read the first one. So we'll save that one for, the second or third. So first question is about Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde, what nicknames did they have for each other? Bonnie and Clyde. What nicknames did they have for each other? A, Daddy and Miss. B, Daddy and Little Girl. C, Honey and Pork Chop. Or D, Sailor Man and S. Scarlet. What nicknames did Bonnie and Clyde have for each other? A, Daddy and Miss. B, Daddy and Little Girl. C, Honey and Pork Chop. Or D, Sailor Man and S. Scarlet. Was it Sugar Shins? No. Hi, Anna Brown. Glam Nail and Beauty is going with C. Carla A. Brooks. Hi, Brooks. Welcome to the stream. I hope you all had a great weekend. Jax is going with C. Question again. Bonnie and Clyde, the Notorious Outlaws. What nicknames did they have for each other? A, Daddy and Miss. B, Daddy and Little Girl. C, Honey and Pork Chop. D, Sailor Man and S. Scarlet. Hey, my dear. Glad I got here. Well, I'm glad you're here too, Anna. Bonnie and Clyde. Romeo and Juliet. Not an option, but it's a good guess. Jeannie, you made it. Jeannie, the first question is Bonnie and Clyde, the Notorious Outlaws in America. What nicknames did they have for each other? A, Daddy and Miss. B, Daddy and Little Girl. C, Honey and Pork Chop. D, Sailor Man and S. Scarlet. Med Gas Guy, well, long time no see. How are you doing, sir? No see, hope all is well. Can I sit in for a few? You most certainly can, sir. How have you been? I hope you've been doing well. Going with Honey and Pork Chop. Pork chop and applesauce. That's actually good. Pork chop and applesauce. I've actually made that before. I broil the pork chops, and then I put a little bit of Johnny salt on them, and then put a thin layer of applesauce on them, and then put them back in, and then with the broiler setting, so it's at the top rack, so it actually caramelizes the applesauce on the top. I'm telling you, that's good. That's good eatings right there. I actually saw that on It was an episode of oh boy, wait, trying to remember the name of the show now. It was a cooking show. America's Test Kitchen. Sorry, it was like right there. I was like, what the hell was the name of the show? Hi, Patricia. Welcome to the stream. Was going to ask what belt is for, and don't say taco. This? No, this is my belt. It's a replica belt buckle. I just got it like literally yesterday. Literally, using that word incorrectly. But I got it. I just got it the other day. Yeah, I got it from the. It's a replica belt buckle from the Gettysburg Museum. It was part of a, what do you call it, like a Kickstarter for a new memorial fund for the great grandchildren or whatever they're raising money for Civil War soldiers. The fund had depleted, and they had lost so much over the years, and they needed to put more money into it. But anyways, they had a Kickstarter, and I got the buckle for free, along with it's like a ammo bag. It's a small pouch that they would keep a black powder or whatever. I don't know what the hell they put in them. I mean, I'm not much on the history of the Civil War, but it sounded like a great thing to me. So I got it. Hi, Alicat, Carrie, Renee. Welcome everybody. Chatterbox, welcome. Okay, so the first question has already been read, so everybody will have to jump in on number 2, I guess. Bonnie and Clyde, what nicknames did they have for each other? The correct answer is B. Daddy and Little Girl is what they called them. Nicknames they had for each other. Daddy and Little Girl. I used to make leather belts when I was in high school. This, if you can see the pattern on there. I think this one is it's part of the Western Wrangler collection. I bought the thing, probably like 3 months ago on Amazon. And I thought it came with the buckle that was actually in the picture, because nowhere in the picture on the description on Amazon did it say that the buckle was sold separately. And so when I got the belt in the mail, I'm like, there's no buckle on here. How am I supposed to use it without the buckle? So, and then I went online and went onto Amazon. I typed in belt buckle. Don't ever do that. It's about 5 billion freaking results, not counting the ones that are paid for advertisements at the bottom of the pages. But I'm sitting there scrolling through forever trying to find belt buckles, and I stumbled across ones that were from the Civil War. And I'm like, hey, it's about the right size. I didn't want like a big old I just won a rodeo championship belt buckle, and I didn't want a normal belt buckle, a plain Jane one. I wanted something a little bit in between. And I saw that there was ones that were being sold by the Gettysburg Museum. I clicked on it, and then in the description, that led me to their website. On their website, it then led me to the GoFundMe Kickstarter program thing that they had going. I think it was a Kickstarter, because you're guaranteed for so much of a donation, you're guaranteed to get a buckle. So I got it. So, and then I gave them I went to not the lowest level, but I went to the second lowest level, and I got the 2 items. But anyways, doesn't matter. It's really cool. They used to make belts though. All right. Now, I purposely skipped this first one because it's a little disturbing. So cover your ears if you don't want to hear this one. All right. This is question number 2. Albert Fish, the killer. Albert Fish killed and ate a 10-year-old little girl. And he famously wrote a letter to her mother telling her how sweet and tender she was. How long did it take Albert Fish to eat the 10-year-old little girl? A, 2 days. B, 7 days. C, 9 days. Or D, 14 days. How long did it take Albert Fish to eat the 10-year-old little girl? To my Gettysburg Address. Yeah, it can be. My friend doesn't even call it Amazon. He calls it that river site or the jungle site. But it can be, hard to, there's so many of them on there. I was like, I don't want this. And I tried to limit it by size. You can't do that. I mean, on the sidebar, you can limit it by price or, style, but not by size. I mean, it's not an option. Good God. We got A, C, C, A, B, A. Good God. I guess C. I'm going with 7 days. Anna Brown says C, which 9 days. Glowworm. Hi, Glowworm. Welcome. How many days did it take Albert Fish to eat a 10-year-old little girl? Fish was dining with Dahmer. I think there might be a 1 or 2 questions in here about Dahmer tonight. I mean, I had to call it quits. I mean, I've got well over 30 questions. We'll see how we get through these tonight. The last time we did 30 questions, the stream was a little over 3.5 hours. So, and that seemed to be a little bit long for everybody because after a while, all of our brains were pretty much cooked. Okie dokie. Didn't answer you in yesterday. Was really flipping Arby's. I'm in Oklahoma. Oh. See, the gray man. Carrie Ludwig is going with 2. Dumber. Albert Fish killed and ate a 10-year-old little girl. He famously wrote a letter to her mother telling her how sweet and tender she was. How long did it take this sick son of a bitch to eat a 10-year-old little girl? I added that part. But was it A, 2 days, B, 7 days, C, 9 days, or D, 14 days? Good evening, Lisa, and welcome to the stream. Rykar is 1 for 1. I haven't even given you the answer to the second one yet. This is only the second question. Albert Fish killed and ate a 10-year-old little girl. How long did it take him? 2 days, 7 days, 9 days, or 14 days? He is a sick son of a bitch. That is true. Lisa is going with 14 days. Norm Macdonald does a great Albert Fish routine. Does he? I had the chance to see him. Was it last year? Yeah, he was the nighttime entertainment at the Moose International Convention. We have state conventions, and then we have a convention for all Moose members from across the United States. And he was at the convention. That was last year. I'm pretty sure it was last year. He was a real jerk. All right, so how long did it take Albert Fish to eat a 10-year-old little girl? The correct answer is C, 9 days. Are you still 1 for 1, Reichart? Or 0 for 2? Or nope. Brooks didn't have a beard, didn't have a mustache, no facial hair at all when I worked in the casino. One of the other reasons why I quit working there was the owner was just a complete jackass. He used the place as his private playground for him and his cronies, and it got tiring after a while. One for one, Reichart? Cool. All right, next question. Maryland inmate Trevon White fathered how many children while he was a prisoner? Trevon White. How many children did he father while he was an inmate in prison? A, 2. B, 4. C, 6. D, 8. How many children did inmate Trevon White father while he was an actual prisoner? I never looked back, Carrie. I mean, there was people that I worked with that were great, and I still keep in contact with a lot of them, but it wasn't a great place to be. A shark should that 6 fish guy. Yeah. D, C, 6, C, 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 6, 12, D, 6, C. Guess is all, those seem to be all popular. Nobody wants to guess A. I haven't seen an A yet. Oh, well, 4. Well, I'm guessing with there, if Medgasky is going with A. Somebody has to guess A. Tell me if I'm wrong, Medgasky. Did you? I'm not sure if my memory is correct, but don't you do something with stained glass? I'm not sure if I'm remembering that correctly or not. Cindy Watts. Behind the soda machine. Maryland inmate Trevon White fathered how many children while in prison? You're a retired plumber. I thought you had a hobby of doing stained glass or something, or I thought that. So it's been a while, like you said. You know, I remember the name. Retired plumber. So Maryland inmate Trevon White, how many children did he father while in prison? The correct answer is B, 4, with 4 different prison guards. 4 different women who were prison guards there at the penitentiary where he was at. He fathered children with 4 different prison guards. Yep, 4 different prison guards. Yeah, that's not counting the children he had before he went to prison with several different baby mommies. All right. Oh, No pensions for them. No, nothing at all. Next one is Jodi Arias. Yeah. Jodi Arias made the trivia questions tonight. Jodi Arias wanted to give back to people down on their luck or going through a hard time. What did she give as a tax write-off? She gave it only as a tax write-off. What did Jodi Arias give as a tax write-off? A, cash for domestic violence shelter to a domestic violence shelter. B, 2 paintings she did herself in prison. C, her hair for love of locks. Or D, a pornographic picture of herself. What did Jodi Arias give for people who were down on their luck or going through a hard time as a tax write-off? Cash donation to a domestic violence shelter. B, 2 paintings that she did in prison. C, her hair for love of locks. Or D, a pornographic picture of herself. Got a lot of B's. Couple D's. Good God. Second choice, porno. Pornographic picture of herself is D. Anna Brown's going with her hair. Carrie Ludwig, it was her paintings. Good God Almighty. Love letters from Hades. B. And welcome to the stream. What's she doing a headstand? Oh, if you guys haven't seen the interrogation video of Jodi Arias, you got to watch it. You think that she's a bizarre individual? Wait until you watch that video of her in the interrogation room. Oh, boy. The first time I saw it, I thought for sure she's going to go for, an insanity defense. She had me convinced that there's something seriously wrong with her. Some people are just wired wrong. That's true. She's up there on the evil list. I don't know if I put her in the top, but I would definitely put her on that list. If I had to make a top 10 of evil women out there, she'd definitely be on the top 10 list. So Jodi Arias wanted to give back to people who were down on their luck or going through hard times. What did she give? The correct answer is C. She gave her hair to Love of Locks. And side note, though, at the same time on that Love of Locks, when my wife was going through chemotherapy, she had eight friends who all met up at a beauty salon, and they all shaved their head the same day, and they gave all the hair to Love of Locks. And they make wigs out of the donated hair that goes to them. But it is a tax write-off. But they make wigs for women going through for chemotherapy, and other Not just women. They make wigs for men as well and for children. Oh, welcome to the membership, Anna. Did she win Sheriff Joe's Christmas singing competition? Fishing Karen, pilot Russell Williams. Oh my God, Russell Williams. Women's underwear and bras. Your favorite is Betty Broderick. Yeah. In that top 10 though, I would have to put Rosemary West in there. Jodi Arias definitely in the top 10. I'd have to actually sit down and have to actually write it out. Hippie Love, welcome, Hippie Love. Would you take your beard? Locks of love. Yeah. My daughter donated 40 inches of her hair. She could sit on her hair. My mother-in-law is about to, I think either tomorrow or the next day, she's going to donate hers. Her hair goes down past her hips. My wife's hair was about the same length when she started her chemotherapy. She lost it all through the chemotherapy. It was all gone. Well, when the other ladies went in and had their head shaved, she shaved hers as well. But and it started to come back and a little bit. So it was probably about 3 inches in length or so, and then the chemo fucking wiped it out. Sorry for my language, but it did. But it's kind of weird because her hair when originally it was straight and long, and brown. And when it came back, it first came back a burgundy color with no hair dye in it at all. And it was curly, like nappy, curly. So they say that happens. It's not uncommon for women who go in and and go through chemotherapy, and their hair color, they might have been blonde, and then after they get their hair back, it'll come back brown or red. She lost so much weight. We called it the body by chemo, diet plan. Your granddaughter has donated 2 times. Nah, we're good, Hippie Love. I got you were joking. Are you leaving, Chatterbox? Good night. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Next one is on Ted Bundy. As we all know, Ted Bundy volunteered at a suicide hotline in Seattle, Washington. While in prison, he helped the FBI catch what killer. But what else? I missed an entire line of the question. Okay, while Ted Bundy volunteered at a suicide hotline in Seattle, Washington. While in prison, he helped the FBI catch the Green River Killer. But what else did Ted Bundy do from prison? And the options are A, he wrote a pamphlet on Volkswagen bugs. B, he wrote a book about the nighttime sky. C, he wrote a book about forgiveness. Or D, he wrote a pamphlet about rape prevention. What else did Ted Bundy do from prison? A, he wrote a pamphlet on Volkswagen bugs. B, he wrote a book about the nighttime sky. C, he wrote a book about forgiveness. Or D, he wrote a pamphlet on rape prevention. What else did Ted Bundy do from prison? Anna, you donate your hair every 2 years? Love letters. Yeah, while in prison, Ted Bundy volunteered at a suicide hotline in Seattle, Washington. While in prison, he helped the FBI catch the Green River Killer. What else did Ted Bundy do from in prison? In a nutshell. But yes, he helped catch the Green River Killer. The one thing that the FBI, from what he told them, took them in a completely different direction from where their investigation was going and how they were trying to catch the Green River Killer. And the one thing he told them that was the clue that for the murder, to catching the Green River Killer, he told them, next time you find a victim, don't touch the victim. He's going to come back to that victim. He's going to come back. And he was right. He was absolutely right. They had no idea that he was coming back to the victim multiple times after he had killed him. Killed him, redressed him, undressed him, had sex with him, did all kinds of nasty stuff to him. But then, and they would reposition him. He did to every one of his victims. But Bundy said, next time you find one, don't touch him. Because he'll know if you've touched him. That Danny Rollins was a sicko SOB. Danny Rollins. I'm drawing a blank on that one. Danny Rollins. I'm hanging back. I just can't. Guessing D read it. It said, stay the hell away from me. Didn't they go to his house early on in the case? I think they did. I think he was on the list of possible suspects. They may have questioned him or talked to him at some point, but when he was an upstanding person in his community, although be a little strange, but nobody really knew what he was totally into. The Gainesville Ripper. Why has no one got to Chris Watts in prison? Rich, because he's in a protective housing unit along with other sick son of a people like himself. He's not in general population. He never will be in general population. He's too much of a risk, security risk, and he's too much of a risk for other inmates. To answer your question, Rich, in a nutshell, he will never be in general population or in any type of environment where they put him out in where general population is mingling or near him. He will always be in that same stupid cell housing unit. Yep. He'll be there the rest of his life. I mean, he's got, 5 life sentences plus 40 some years. I think that's what it is. Don't matter. He ain't going to serve out 1 life sentence, let alone with no possibility of parole. He's got to serve out the entire life sentence. He's going to die on just 1 life sentence. He's never going to serve out the rest. So, but that's what they wanted. He wanted them to take the death penalty off the table. So he's just going to spend the rest of his life in prison. And he's very protected. All right. What else did Ted Bundy do while he was in prison? The correct answer is D. He wrote a rape prevention pamphlet. He actually wrote several iterations of the same rape prevention pamphlet. It wasn't just one. he has extra for moving the bodies and Nico's death plus life sentences. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He ain't going anywhere. Nor is he ever going to. Hope that I don't knock over the camera here. I set my phone on it so it doesn't vibrate and we don't get bothered by the sound of it vibrating on the table. All right. So Rijkaard, you're 1 for 4. I don't know if you're. Next one is. Let's see here. Let me read this one. Okay. This one is about the killer, Kenneth Lee Parker. Kenneth Lee Parker sued the prison and the warden of the prison over what? A, access to prostitutes. He wanted to access to prostitutes. B, bad fitting shoes. C, 2 jars of peanut butter. Or D, a bad haircut. What did Kenneth Lee Parker sue the prison and the warden over? Not having access to prostitutes. B, bad fitting shoes. C, 2 jars of peanut butter. Or D, a bad haircut. I am still here. I have not gone anywhere. Hippie Love is guessing C. Carrie's going with probably shoes. Love Letters, I feel like saying peanut butter. When in doubt, go with C. Rijkaard. Cigarette. Hi, everyone from Queensland, Australia. Hello, Carol Johns. Welcome to the stream. Hi, Carol. The gas guy, B. Glowworm, lucky woman. Rijkaard, bad haircut. There's an actual website that lists all the different stupid lawsuits that have ever been filed by inmates. There was an inmate who was on death row in Texas who filed so many lawsuits that technically they could not execute him until he thought, well, at least he thought they technically could not execute him until all his lawsuits were settled. He was wrong. But he sued like the warden of the prison over him for emotional distress because he was on death row. Wasn't it Letitia Stausch and the peanut butter? I don't know. Maybe she did. Letitia's she's a weird one. Do you do trivias often? My bad. I asked a few times. I'm sorry, Love Letters. Yes, every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That's West Coast of the United States. 7 p.m. my time is what time I do these. So, depending on where you are, you have to figure it out that way. If East Coast is earlier, right? Or later. I can't remember. I'm terrible at time zones myself. That's why I always say it's 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time every Sunday. Count me in Mexico. My wife has a friend who moved to Mexico. She retired, and for what the cost of living in Mexico, not New Mexico, but Mexico, the country. After she retired, she moved to Mexico because the cost of living there is so much cheaper than it is here, and her retirement could go that much farther. I think my wife said she found herself a nice little, cabana boy to keep her company. I'm not sure about that part, but she retired there. What true crime YouTuber is most likely to become a serial killer? It's a good question, Mr. Frosty. There's a lot of them out there. I don't know. I have an idea in my head, but I'm not going to say it because somebody's going to go pop into that person's stream next and say, "He said you're going to be a serial killer." No, I ain't going to play that one. All right, killer Kenneth Lee Parker sued the prison and the warden over what? The correct answer is C, 2 jars of peanut butter. Yeah, he wanted chunky peanut butter, and they ran out, and they gave him 1 chunky peanut butter, 1 regular, and he filed a lawsuit against the prison and the warden. Now, you think that would be an easily dismissible case, but it went on for over 2 years. The legal back and forth fighting. And the judges, who was sitting in on the case, let it go on for over 2 years. He sued the prison and the warden over not giving him the 2 jars of chunky peanut butter. Yeah. It was, by the way, it was after two years and a couple of months, it was dropped by a new judge who was appointed to the case, and he dropped it for being a frivolous lawsuit. He said, "Shut up. Be happy you can buy peanut butter on the commissary." Nope, Reichart, they dismissed it, threw it out. Because the judge who was actually heard the case the first couple of times during the first 2 years of it, just let it keep on going. And then a new judge was appointed to the bench, and he tossed it out of here. Every relative became sick first day in Mexico. You're too Irish? You're too Irish. You think Scott would be the most likely to become a serial killer? I don't see it. I don't see a pent up violent aggression in Scott. He's funny though. All right, next question. We're going to go to Jim Jones. Jim Jones and the People's Temple. At the time of the death of all of his followers in Ghana, how much did Jim Jones have in bank accounts here in the United States? How much money did Jim Jones have in the bank here in America at the time of all their deaths? A, 10 million. B, 20 million. C, 2 million. Or D, $200 million. How much money did Jim Jones have in his bank accounts at the time of the mass suicide and murders? A, 10 million, B, 20 million, C, 2 million, or D, $200 million. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are in the true crime community, like YouTube creators out there. Some are large, some are small, some you probably have never heard of, and others maybe you have. But I don't think True Crime Loser would Scott Sharp would be the first one. He wouldn't be even on my list of people who I think would do it. I've got one right on the top of my head that came to mind. Brooks is going with 2 million. Jim Jones, 10 mil. From Lisa is her guess. BBCBD IRO. Hello, IRO. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a great weekend. We are playing True Crime Trivia tonight. Every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we play True Crime Trivia. I don't remember. I didn't number these, so I have no idea what number of question we're on. So, what was your favorite case? Rich S. What is my favorite case that I've ever done? I don't have a favorite case. There's cases and that I've covered that are more disturbing than others. Some that have gotten to me, emotionally, because it either hit home, or the individual or the circumstances was just so gruesome and grotesque. It's kind of hard to talk about them. And how do you get across on a camera that the entire story of what somebody did to somebody else and what people do to each other is just horrific. But I don't have a favorite one. Susan Bond. I've heard of Jim Jones, but never felt the heart drop till I saw the death of it all. Yeah. Well, and it should be noted that Jim Jones and the People's Temple, those who were members of the People's Temple, not all of them died there. Some of them had escaped leading up to it, and there are also still members who were here in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area, at the time that they all committed mass suicide. So when all the followers there died, there were still members who were here in the United States. Some of them very well connected to Harvey Milk and to the Carter family, Jimmy Carter, the president, his wife, very well connected here in America. And some of those survivors went on and lived out natural lives. They didn't do anything criminal, so there was no reason to arrest them. I don't know what happened to all of Jim Jones's money. I believe the state of California got it all. My case was Travis Alexander because I have two brothers his age. Yeah. Some still live following Jim Jones's teachings. That is actually absolutely true. Okie dokie. Some of them, there are two members in particular who went on and formed another what they call Enlightenment Church, and they're still around today, using Jim Jones's basic principles and their teachings. So, but anyway, so back to the trivia question: Jim Jones and the People's Temple, at the time of the mass suicide murders in Ghana, how much money did Jim Jones have in the bank? The correct answer is A, $10 million. Side note, though, when everybody joined Jim Jones' church, He made them sign away everything that they owned. All their worldly possessions went to him and the church. At that time, he was receiving over $40,000 a month in Social Security benefits from people who had joined the church every single month. Another $40,000 just kept on rolling in until they were all counted for and officially, deceased. But all that money just kept on rolling into that bank account. $10 million. But they lived in almost poverty down there. This is kind of like the point of why I picked this trivia question. He had $10 million in the bank account here in California. Yeah, he made people sign false confessions to a lot of things, to crimes they never committed. He made them sign letters saying that they were child predators. He made them sign, false confessions to, commit to crimes that they didn't do. All kinds of things. Meaning he used it as blackmail in case they ever tried to leave. You leave me, I got that letter. Who are they gonna believe? Jim Jones, who was connected politically, and financially, or the average broke citizen, because they're broke now because they gave away everything. They can't fight it. But anyways, I've read a lot about the People's Temple and Jim Jones. Okay, here's one I'm sure that a lot of you will get. What bar was the favorite bar of John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer? John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer. What bar? The options are A, the Limelight Lounge, B, the L&L Tavern, C, the Beast in Motion Bar, D, Little Louie's Bar and Grill. What was the favorite bar of John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer? Same bar. The Blue Oyster Cult. The Blue Oyster. Survived from it. What Reichart? It wasn't Kool-Aid. It was Flavor Aid. It's a common misconception. He was too cheap to even buy Kool-Aid. He bought Flavor Aid, the generic version of Kool-Aid. So what was the favorite bar of John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer? A, the Limelight Lounge, B, the L&L Tavern, C, the Beast in Motion Bar, or D, the Little Louie's Bar and Grill. This is so hard. That's for real. Yeah. And in the 55-gallon drums that they mix the cyanide in, and Kool-Aid, it was grape Flavor Aid. You didn't know that stuff, Hippie Love? Flavor Aid? Yeah. Flavor Aid started off as it came originally in an all-white package that just had the name of the flavor on the outside of it. Sold just like Kool-Aid in the same little type of packages, but the outside of it was just a plain white, and it just had the name of it on the outside of it that was stamped with a rubber stamp. Grape, strawberry, whatever the flavor was. It was just stamped on the outside. Then they actually, put money into packaging. But Flavor Aid. What was the favorite bar of John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer? Fun Dip. I Was in Canada. Do they have Flavor Aid there? I don't know. I know you can get it in the UK. They actually make it now it's a pre-made, like the juice container thing. I don't know what you call a container, of juice. But you can buy them in the store. What was the favorite bar of John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer? The correct answer is B, the L&L Tavern. The L&L Tavern was located, I don't know if it's still there or not, located at 3207 North Clark Street. 3207 North Clark Street. Lisa, you loved this. I thought that at first it said Xanax. You loved Xanax back there. Look at that twice. RX back then. And around we right back. Gotta go let the fur babies out. Just rolling with it. You grew up on Flavor Aid. Hello. Straight Save-A-Lot. Save-A-Lot grocery stores. No, it was Chicago, Illinois. They're actually, on the trivia question for that one, they actually have a picture that used to be on the wall of both of them that people had donated. Sick. I don't think it's still there anymore, though. For right, 3 wrong. I mix juice in my Kool-Aid. That'd be cool. Well, at least you get some kind of vitamins out of it, as opposed to just sugar. All right. Next question. Going back to the bootlegging days of Prohibition, Al Capone. Al Capone loved his adopted city of Chicago. What did he do for the poor during the Great Depression? What did Al Capone do during the Great Depression for the poor? A, he opened up a free barber shop and gave away free haircuts. B, he opened a soup kitchen. C, he handed out money to married men. Or D, he offered a 2-for-1 brothel experience. What did Al Capone do for his adopted city of Chicago during the Great Depression? A, open up a free barbershop, free haircuts for all. B, open up a soup kitchen. B, open up soup kitchen. C, handed out money to married men. Or D, offered a 2-for-1 brothel experience. Geraldo says free soup. Wasn't it? It was Geraldo Rivera that had that special back in the day when he had his talk show. He was going to break into we're going to get into the Al Capone safe, the vault, the Al Capone's vault. Nothing in it. He gave away nothing. James says he gave away nothing. Nothing for you. A barbershop, gave away food. I think C, because he was a show off. Hippie Love says, I remember that. Did we do this one before? Once before? I hope I don't run across those. Probably. It's gonna, I mean, eventually it's gonna happen. This entire notebook is filled with nothing but, trivia questions. And it's bound to happen eventually. The same questions are going to pop up on more than one list. Hi, Diana Bowman. Welcome to the Sunday night crime trivia. The current question is, Al Capone loved his adopted city of Chicago. What did he do for the poor during the Great Depression? Every question is a multiple choice question and has 4 options, A, B, C, or D. The options are A, opened up a free barbershop, free haircuts for all. B, opened up a soup kitchen. C, handed out money to married men. D, offered a 2-for-1 brothel experience. You think there's Italians that love to eat? I think people love to eat, period. E, all the above. Easily distracted, says E. Going with an option that's not even there. All the above. What was Al Capone's home city? I thought he was from Chicago. I don't know. Somebody would have to Google that. I don't know what Al Capone's real city is where he's from. I thought he was, he was a Chicago mobster, but where was he really from? I don't know. Don't know the answer to that one. Hippie Love will be right back. Al Capone is a hero in Chicago. Well, brothel haircuts. Mr. Frosty's going with brothel haircuts, huh? Just rolling with it is going with D, all the above. Well, D is offered a 2-for-1 brothel experience. Buy one, get 2 women free. Or buy one experience with a prostitute, get the second one for free. So, New York, Brooklyn. He was born in New York. See, I knew somebody would get that one. All right, so Al Capone loved his adopted city of Chicago. What did he do for the poor during the Great Depression? The correct answer is B. He opened up a soup kitchen. He also opened up a food pantry where he would send home men who would lined up in line for at the end of the day. He would hand out these like little tokens, and you can actually find them. They're called depression tokens, and they're just a metal, kind of like a quarter, a little bit bigger than a quarter, and they were stamped with his initials on one side. If you got one of those tokens, then you got to go to his food pantry, and you could actually get a small bag of groceries for you and your family. They'll take home. It was basically a loaf of bread, some bacon or something simple like that. But there were like 3 or 4 items in the bag, and everybody got the same thing. Didn't matter how big of a family you had. You got one of those. So switching from Al Capone, we're going to the state of Idaho. Going to the state of Idaho. Lori Vallow. Lori Vallow once competed as a beauty queen. In what state did she compete as a beauty queen? A, Idaho. B, Utah. C, Texas. Or D, Hawaii. Lori Vallow once competed as a beauty queen. In what state did she compete in? A, Idaho, B, Utah, C, Texas, or D, Hawaii? James, next. Now, a lot of guesses for Texas. Texas and Utah seems to be going so far. Idaho. Idaho. Lori Vallow once competed as a beauty queen. In what state did she compete in? A, Idaho, B, Utah, C, Texas, or D, Hawaii? She won't be in the future. I highly doubt it she will either. Unless they have prison beauty contests. I guess I'm on delay. Answer before you gave the question. Anna, Lori Vallow once competed as a beauty queen. In what state? A, Idaho, B, Utah, C, Texas, or D, Hawaii? What state did Lori Vallow compete as a beauty queen in? I only said Texas because that big mop she has. Everything's big in Texas. Anna Brown is going with Texas. All right. Lori Vallow once competed as a beauty queen in what state? The correct answer is C, Texas. Lori Vallow once was a beauty queen in Texas. To go with her big ego, just rolling with it, Texas as well. All right. Sticking with Hoary Lori. Lori Vallow, this is the actual question. Lori Vallow was once a beauty queen in Texas. However, this wasn't her first taste of fame. What was her first moment in the spotlight? A, killing her first husband. B, being on Jeopardy. C, being on Wheel of Fortune. Or D, picketing for the release of Warren Jeff, the polygamist. What was Lori Vallow's first time in the spotlight? A, killing her first husband. B, being on Jeopardy. C, being on Wheel of Fortune. Or D, picketing for the release of polygamist Warren Jeff. IRO going with a game show. You got a 50-50 possibility there because two of them are game shows. Jeopardy is B and Wheel of Fortune is C. So that hedging your bets there. Good call. Oh, I have no clue, but I want to know. Midgasky is going with Wheel, and Lisa's going with Wheel of Fortune. Ain't going there. What? Coolie Dog stub on it? Coolie Dog. Welcome to the stream, Coolie Dog. Wheel of Fortune, she wanted to be a Vanna. She wanted to be like Vanna. LOL, Warren Jeffs, Wheel of Fortune. Guest star on Mork and Mindy. It's a good one, Mr. Frosty. Deadliest catch. But she was the bait. Throw her over. I actually know somebody who is up there. He fishes on the on Deadliest Catch. He's been on television quite a few times. He's on the ship, the Cornelius Marie. He does it every year. He goes up fishing for Ophelia and for king crab, and then he goes home, and that's it. He don't work a day more the rest of the year. Just hangs out. Rickshaw and Stubbles. She threw that wheel like a rag doll. If it is a game show, doubt it is on replay. Just rolling with it. I think her brother was on Wheel of Fortune too. Damn Black Widow. What was Lori Vallow's first moment in the spotlight? A, killing her first husband. B, being on Jeopardy. C, being on Wheel of Fortune. Or D, picketing for the release of Warren Jeffs, the polygamist. Bet she wishes she could spin it now. Joker's wild. What was the one with the whammies? Press your luck, right? With the whammies. They took all your money. Whammies. My mama watched Wheel of Fortune all the time, and when all this went on, my mama remembered seeing her on the show. Mama passed 7, 18, 19. I'm sorry about your mother's passing, Anna Brown. But since mom, you just posted about your mama, Anna Brown. Anna Brown is correct. The correct answer is Lori Vallow's first moment in the spotlight was on Wheel of Fortune. Ladies and gentlemen, she won. She won. That night, she won $17,500. She took home $12,251 after taxes. She did not get the last speed round puzzle correct, but she did win $17,500 on the show. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can watch it on the box set DVD of Wheel of Fortune episodes. She is on there. Some guy figured out the pattern of the whammy show. Yeah, I saw that. He figured out how there was like a timing, you know, wherever it came up, and then he knew exactly when it was going to be in that next corner if he timed it and then hit it. But Lori Vallow was on Wheel of Fortune. She won. Yeah, $17,500. She took home $12,251 after taxes. And then her luck ran out. She's always just done whatever the hell she's wanted to do on her own time frame. On 5 Minute Beyond. Who was a serial killer on the dating game? That was Rodney Alcala. Is it Alcala? I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. But Rodney was on the dating game. And he was on there in the middle of his actual spree of killing people. While he was actively out hunting other victims, he was on the dating game. But the lady who won the date with him didn't go out on a date with him. He copped out off. You have Ruco TV. You should look it up, Coolie Dog. She was on the Wheel of Fortune. I don't know when it was, but she was definitely on the Wheel of Fortune. All right, so the next trivia question, sticking with Hoary Lori. Lori Vallow once had a podcast. What was the official name of the podcast as it was uploaded to the internet? Okay. What was the official name of the podcast? A, Getting Away with Murder 101. B, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll and Killing Your Family. C, I'm a worthless person who should be buried underneath the jail that I'm currently incarcerated in. Or D, Preparing People. I think I've made this one as obvious as possible what the correct answer is. So let me read it to you again. Lori Vallow once had a podcast. What was the official name of the podcast as it was uploaded to the internet? A, Getting Away with Murder 101. B, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll and Killing Your Family. No? All right, C, I'm a worthless person who should be buried underneath the jail that I'm currently incarcerated in. Or D, Preparing People. Okie dokie. A, B, or C for sure. Damn cults. Yeah. Getting Away with Murder 101. Repairing People. After all, most people act like zombies. Carrie Ludwig. What was the name of Lori Vallow's podcast as it was uploaded to the internet? A, Getting Away with Murder 101. B, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll and Killing Your Family. C, I'm a worthless person who should be buried underneath the jail I'm currently housed in. Or D, Preparing People. So I was going to tell everybody what the name of the place was that I went and ate last night. It's Woo's Teriyaki. I had to look it up on my bank account really quick because I used my debit card. The receipt doesn't actually have the name of it on it. Woo's Teriyaki. Preparing a People, PAP. Isn't that an intrusive exam? A PAP exam? Oh my God. I just got that okie dokie. Preparing people. 2 words. The correct answer for this one is D, preparing people. I thought it was kind of funny, A, getting away with murder, 101. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll and killing your family. I'm a worthless person who should be buried underneath the jail I'm currently housed in. I thought those were all good. All right. Now we're done with Lori Vallow. We're moving on to Chad Daybell. Not Dumbbell. Daybell. Chad Daybell started hearing voices giving him insight and prophecies in what year? In what year did Chad Daybell start hearing voices giving him insight and prophecies? Your options are A, 2000, B, 2010, C, 2015, or D, 2020. Alicut. Hi, Alicut. I hope you had a great weekend. Welcome to the stream. Chad Daybell started hearing voices giving him insight and prophecy in what year? 2000, 2010, 2015, or 2020? I'm staying on the fence first. LOL. Abide by your community guidelines. Susan Welchick. Abide by our community guidelines. Okay, Susan. Well, so what should we do, ladies and gentlemen, that violates community guidelines? Let's think of something. Because, you know what? I don't care, Susan. I'm not violating any community guidelines. But thank you for popping in and tell me that. Good morning, Smith Shoes. Diana Bowen is going with 2015. You know what guidelines? I don't know who it is. Who's this troll? I mean, I get who they're trying to say they are, but they're not, because it doesn't have the official logo that I would see on my side. So it's just somebody who has picked the icon and picked the name to make themselves look like they're somebody else, but they're not. I don't know. You get these people, I have the same person who pops into my comment section every week and tells me that they're a 12-year-old child and that they are watching my content. And I'm like, okay. And the reason why they do that is because of the rules and regulations for making content that is targeted towards someone under the age of 13. They say that they're 12 years old. And they're like, oh, okay. So trying to scare the creator into believing that someone who shouldn't be watching the content is actually watching the content. But the same person has multiple different names. And one of the other ones is like Grandpa B. So they're either a 12-year-old or they're a 78-year-old man, or they're a 16-year-old retard sitting, making fun of people. And I use that word not to be derogatory towards people with learning disabilities, but only as, meaning that this guy is, whoever it is an idiot. Yeah. Oh, well. I woke up so late. I have not been well. Don't like to complain. Well, I hope you get better soon, Smith Shoes. When did Chad Daybell start hearing voices that were giving him insight and prophecies? A, 2000, B, 2010, C, 2015, or D, 2020. When did Chad Daybell start hearing voices? Where did the troll go? Don't care. They might be still here somewhere listening. They pop in every once in a while. I'll give them a half a minute of my time, but yeah, they want to be a disruption. Say that again, Anna Brown. Chad Daybell started hearing voices, giving him insight and prophecies in what year? A, 2000, B, 2010, C, 2015, or D, in 2020. When did Chad Daybell start hearing voices? Just rolling with it is going with A, 2000. Mr. Softy. Okie dokie, going with A. Hippie loves guessing as soon as he grabbed that pipe. The correct answer for this one is A, 2000. Although Chad had experiences going back to the late 1990s where he had inspiration, as he called it, and he actually put this in his book. He had inspirations that came to him. But in 2000, while he was working, he had started hearing voices. I wonder if anybody's ever checked him, to see if he has schizophrenia. Yeah, he was an undertaker. Chad was. Sorry, I have been in pain tonight. A lot of fur baby problems. I'm sorry, Anna. All right, so the next question is Chad Daybell again, and then we are done with Lori and Chad. Which of the following is not one of Chad's biological children? Which one is not one of his biological children? A, Emma, B, Seth, A, Emma, B, Seth, C, Garth, or D, Tanner. Which one is not one of Chad Daybell's biological children? Brian Earl Splitner, welcome to the stream. Brian Earl Spillner. Why would he? Why ask the question? Do you think he deserves a second chance? We got a lot of D's, C's. just rolling with it, Tanner. Which of the following is not one of Chad's biological children? A, Emma, B, Seth, C, Garth, or D, Tanner? Oh, I forgot all about that, Mr. Frosty. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. I forgot all about that. Do they even make that stuff anymore? Bud Dry? It's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't even know if they make it anymore. We all make mistakes, and being in prison is a waste of taxpayers' money. But at the same time, Brian, where should he be? We all make mistakes. Last week, I dropped my wife's favorite coffee cup and broke it. That was a mistake. But I didn't strangle my wife and kill my two daughters and stuff them into an oil tank, and pretend that nothing happened. Sometimes even, the severity of the crime must be punished by a lot greater, of penalty. And is, having someone in prison for the rest of their life, he chose that. He could have taken the death penalty, but he didn't want that. So, which one is not Chad's biological children? Emma, Seth, Garth, or Tanner? Bud, Miser. They used to put out some really cool commercials. I always liked the dog in the Clydesdales. I always liked that one. The correct answer for this one, which one is not one of Chad Daybell's children? The correct answer is D. He does not have a child named Tanner. His children are Emma, Seth, Garth, Lee, and Mark. Those are his children. All right, we're going over the pond, ladies and gentlemen. Harold Shipman. Harold Shipman is the next question. Harold Shipman, one of Great Britain's most prolific killers. Ready? All right. Harold Shipman, one of Great Britain's most prolific killers, killed 15 elderly patients with morphine. What was he fired from the Todmorden medical practice for? What was he fired for? A, murder. B, sexual harassment. C, forging prescriptions. Or D, assault and battery. What was Harold Shipman fired from the Todmorden medical practice for? Murder, sexual harassment, forging prescriptions, or assault and battery? Forgery of sexual harassment. Good one, Lisa. Well, Brian, I would ask what mental health problem that do you believe Christopher Watts suffers from? Because he has not seen or been diagnosed with anything as far as I'm aware of. Oh, that's true, isn't it? Hippie love. He's gonna milk that story until the day he dies. Well, I think a lot of people are still, really curious about the case because a lot of people are trying to make sense of the actual crime itself and the psychology behind it all. What drives someone to do that? And so there's always going to be curiosity behind it. Trying to understand the criminal mind, and what drives them to do the things that they've done. I understand the curiosity behind it. I don't fault anybody for being curious about it. I just get tired of the people who want to defend him in his actions and what he did. Intrinsically, nothing ever happens. Coolie dog. Harold Shipman, one of Great Britain's most prolific serial killers, killed 15 elderly patients with morphine. What was he fired from the Todd Morton medical practice for? A, murder, B, sexual harassment, C, forging prescriptions, or D, assault and battery? What was he actually fired for? Okay, the correct answer to this one is C, forging prescriptions. Okay, Brian. And Christopher Watts, and part of his actual mindset, he did set them free. You are somewhat correct in saying that. I don't believe you're correct in saying that he didn't murder them. He did murder them and set them free in a way. He believed, truly within himself that they were suffering just as much as he was. So the reason why he could not let them live was because they were suffering as much as he was inside. So you're technically right there. But he did murder them. All right. Jeffrey Dahmer is the next one. How old was Jeffrey Dahmer when he committed his first murder? Confirmed murder, that is. How old was Jeffrey Dahmer when he committed his first confirmed murder? A, 14, B, 16, C, 18, or D, 20? How old was Jeffrey Dahmer when he committed his first murder? Confirmed murder, that is. 14, 16, 18, or 20? How did Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper, get caught? James, I've read about, I know who he is. And I'm not sure if I'm confusing him right now in my head with another killer. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I think he confessed to it. I'm not sure though. I could be confusing him with another murderer though. But how old was Jeffrey Dahmer when he committed his first murder? Confirmed murder. A, 14, B, 16, C, 18, or D, 20? How old was Jeffrey Dahmer? You need to have a timer. Your chat is just going to Google the answers. If they want to do that, Brian, that's up to them. I'm just here to read trivia questions for anybody that wants to answer them and hang out and answer questions. That's about it, buddy. That's it. If they want to Google the questions, great. I mean, you could open up two windows side by side, and as I read the questions, you can know the answer before I finish reading the options. Great cop work. Cop went back after contacting with the vehicle and find evidence. Interesting case. Yeah, that's true. Hippie love. I mean, it's interesting. Sometimes people just know these things. Well, a lot of them, like maybe you've studied a whole lot about, the Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow questions. I put those in here on purpose after somebody said that they didn't do very well last week on the trivia questions, but they knew a lot more about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. So I purposely put those questions in there for this week because of a comment that somebody said last week. They knew more about the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. But Jeffrey Dahmer, how old was he when he committed his first confirmed murder? 14, 16, 18, or 20? Glowworm. A, 14, B, 16, C, 18, or D, 20? How old was Jeffrey Dahmer when he committed his first murder? Confirmed. Confirmed murder. That's important. The important part of it. Confirmed murder. 14, 16, 18, or 20? Lisa, her guess is 14. Glowworm is going with 14, just rolling with it. 18. The correct answer for how old was Jeffrey Dahmer when he committed his first confirmed murder? The answer is C, 18 years old. He was 18 years old when he committed his first murder. My child at 11 got hooked on That's Up. Sorry, Coolie Dog. I say 16 because his parents left him alone at their house. They did an awful lot. That home in Milwaukee, they left him there a lot by himself. Good job, Jeannie. Don't animals count? For this list, no. We're talking about human beings, not animal tortures and mutilations of animals, or burying them while they're dead and then digging them up later to play with them after they've obviously died. suffocated. Jeffrey did all that. Yes. Cats. And by the way, when it comes to murders, on the side note, speaking of cats, most serial killers and that pick cats because they are a symbol of the of femininity, according to the FBI. All right, next question: how many bodies did John Wayne Gacy bury underneath his actual home? John Wayne Gacy. How many men? How many men? Yeah, males. Did John Wayne Gacy bury underneath his actual home? A, 10, B, 20, C, 30, or D, 40? How many victims did John Wayne Gacy bury underneath his home? Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okie dokie. Yep, that is a lot of bodies. How many bodies did John Wayne Gacy bury underneath his home? A, 10, B, 20, C, 30, or D, 40? Zelda, good evening, sweetheart. Waste of meat. I guess. Gacy wasn't into cannibalism. Unlike Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer definitely ate his victims. Well, parts of them. Parts of them he kept in the refrigerator for later on. For sexual pleasure and release. But how many bodies did John Wayne Gacy keep underneath his home? 10, 20, 30, or 40? You gotta love a ranch-style house, right? I'll give you guys the answer here in just a minute. Your ex family lived close to that area? Wow. How many victims did John Wayne Gacy bury under his house? The correct answer is C, 30. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of you were really close there. 32, 30. Yeah, there were a couple victims that were underneath the garage and one who was buried beside the garage. But to answer your question, there were only 30 who were underneath the house. He ran out of room. He was convicted of 33 murders, but they believe his total body count is between 41 and 45. Gacy would not give the authorities a complete answer to it. All the way through during his time in prison, he never would tell them. He just laughed at them. I watched your show late week and looked at the steak and meat section at the grocery store and felt sick. True story. Okay. 20, although I thought there was a bunch of drumsticks and thighs that never could be sorted. What a sick person. Yeah. All right, next one. Pedro Lopez confessed to killing 240 preteen women. Known as the Monster of the Andes, he was convicted of 110 murders. How many years did he spend in prison? Pedro Lopez, how many years did he spend in prison? A, 10 years. B, 18 years. C, 26 years. Or D, 29 years. He was convicted of 110 murders. Either way you go, he spent less than 30 years in prison. Pedro Lopez confessed to 240 murders of preteen women, known as the Monster of the Andes. That was Jose Cuervo. Pedro Lopez. How could they not figure out that he was a killer, Judy? He was a pillar of his community. He was Rotarian, part of the Rotary Club, Man of the Year. He volunteered within his community. He gave jobs to drug addicts and those who were runaways and people who were down in their luck. He volunteered as a clown for birthday parties and for in the senior center. He was known for his humanitarian goodwill. Everybody who knew him thought there was a little bit something odd about him, but for the most part, if you read the stories about John Wayne Gacy, most people liked him, and that's the honest truth. They really liked him. He was known in his community being a hard worker, kept to himself, never in any trouble. Those are the ones you have to watch out for. Good man taking out the trash. Yeah. Pedro Lopez confessed to killing 240 preteen women. The Monsters of the Andes was convicted of 110 murders. How many years did he spend in prison? The correct answer for prison and jail, everything, he spent B, 18 years in prison. He was released in 1998. And ladies and gentlemen, he vanished after being released from prison. Nobody knows whatever happened to him. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that maybe some of the victims' families got a hold of him, or one of them, because he definitely disappeared after being released in 1998, never to be seen again. 18 years total incarceration. Released in 1998. So next one, we're going to the state of California. The Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer sent dozens of letters to the Bay Area press and the San Francisco Police Department. What did his last letter say? His last letter. What did his last letter say? A, die pigs die. B, San Francisco Police Department 0, me 37. C, San Francisco Police Department is slower than me. Or D, moving to kill elsewhere. Good luck. What did his last letter say? The Zodiac Killer. A, die pigs die. B, San Francisco Police Department 0, me 37. Or C, San Francisco Police Department is slower than me. Or D, moving to kill elsewhere. Good luck. Bye, hippie love. You have a great night and a great week ahead. You'll never get me a copper. My sister knew someone who met him at Lake Percentage in Napa Valley. And she survived? The Zodiac Killer, what was his last letter about? Judy don't know about serial killers, just saying. Zodiac Killer, what was his last letter about? Was it A, die pigs die? B, San Francisco Police Department 0, me 37. C, San Francisco Police Department is slower than me. Or D, moving to kill elsewhere. Good luck. The correct answer is B as in boy. San Francisco Police Department 0, me 37 is what his last letter said. I think they said this is past year. Some group figures that they finally broke the cipher for his code. All right, next question. Donald Henry Gaskin, otherwise known as the Hitchhike Killer. Donald Henry Gaskin. The Hitchhike Killer said he killed 80 to 90 people he couldn't remember when he was finally questioned by the police department. He started his killing spree in either 1968 or 1969. He couldn't remember. What else made him famous? A, he killed the wrong person. B, he killed someone famous. C, he killed only sexual partners. Or D, he killed another death row inmate. Donald Henry Gaskin. Hey, Ellie Hughes, welcome to the stream. We're playing True Crime Trivia. I hate it when killing the wrong person. My bad. LOL. Just rolling with it, going with here A or B. Okie dokie, can you repeat the options? The options are A, he killed the wrong person. B, he killed someone famous. C, he killed only his sexual partners. Or D, he killed another death row inmate. What else made Donald Henry Gaskin famous? Eli. What did I say wrong? I'm sorry. Eli. Judy Saka is going to go with D for Christopher Watts. James is going with all the above. So funny. Donald Henry Gaskin, the Hitchhike Killer. What else made him famous? The correct answer is D. While serving out his life sentence and eventual death, he killed another death row inmate. Okay, here's one that's not related to serial killers or the killers at all. What is JonBenet Ramsey's middle name? What was JonBenet Ramsey's middle name? A, Gladys, B, Patricia, C, Catherine, or D, Angel? What is JonBenet Ramsey's middle name? Did he get a bonus for that? What is JonBenet Ramsey's middle name? A, Gladys, B, Patricia, C, Catherine, or D, Angel? Born August 6th, 1990, died December 25th, 1996. G for Google. And her first name is after her dad, JonBenet. Sweet, huh? JonBenet Ramsey's middle name. No, we never should forget the victim. What is JonBenet's full name? Her full name is JonBenet Patricia Ramsey. The correct answer was B. JonBenet Patricia Ramsey. Yep. It's a culmination of all their names. Next one. John Dillinger. Full name, John Herbert Dillinger. Wasn't always an outlaw, murderer, bank robber. He served his country honorably and was awarded 2 medals. What branch of service did John Herbert Dillinger serve in? A, the Army, B, Navy, C, the Marine Corps, or D, the Air Force? John Dillinger served in what branch of military service? A, Army, B, Navy, C, Marines, or D, Air Force? C, the Marines, sir. One pick what convicted murders you sent to the chair? I don't understand the question, Rich. Okay, so it's like one pick. You get to pick one person who is a convicted murderer that you get to send to the electric chair. Is that the question? If that is, if I could pick one convicted murderer to send to the chair, I'd probably pick the guy who I'm not going to say his name, but that killed mine and my wife's best friend. Because it's personal. Dillinger should have been in the Special Forces. We got Marines, Army, a lot of A's. Wait, probably not Navy because he was skinny. Army, Navy. Dillinger should have been Special Forces. So. What branch of service did John Herbert Dillinger, honorably serve in and receive 2 medals in? Lisa can't even guess. John Herbert Dillinger honorably served in the United States Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, B is the correct answer. He served in the Navy honorably, received 2 award medals for bravery, and was then discharged after his time. Then he became an outlaw, murderer, bank robber, and all-around crook. The next question is, who is the lipstick killer? The lipstick killer. Who is the lipstick killer? A, Billy Strangeblood. B, William Hearns. C, Colin Ireland. Or D, William Defoe. Who was the lipstick killer? Billy Strangeblood, William Hearns, C, Colin Ireland, or D, William Defoe? Okie dokie. Who wrote the book of love? Now I'm going to have that song in my head. Thank you. Thank you, Rich. Go. Answers are all over the board. D, B, C, A. William Dafoe. Okay, so the odds are probably pretty slim that it is William Dafoe, the actor. But, I mean, come on. It's an option. Who is the lipstick killer? Billy Strangeblood, William Hearns, Colin Ireland, or William Dafoe, the actor? Mary Kay or Avon? And there's a cult. There's a really good documentary that was done about the Mary Kay lifestyle. Yeah. I don't know if I could sell enough cosmetics to get a pink car. William Dafoe played Vincent Van Gogh. Oh, Christopher Walken. He's an interesting fellow, Christopher Walken. I just watched the documentary about what's his name? Not Walken, but he was in My Cousin Vinny. I can picture him, but I'm drawing a blank on his name. No, it wasn't William Dafoe. What the hell was his name? Al Pacino. No, it's not Al Pacino. Joe Pesci. Did you guys know that Joe Pesci has always wanted a career in music? And he actually had some success before he became an actor as a singer, and with a couple of different groups. And he put out a couple albums himself, self-released, and he had one studio album that was actually done by a recording underneath the recording contract. But Pesci always wanted to be a singer and be in a band. He looked at acting as a way to pay the bills while his music career was taking off. True fact. All right. So who was the lipstick killer? The correct answer is B, William Hearns. William Hearns was the lipstick killer. Next one. It's a general crime question. Which of the following is not a felony in the United States of America and has never been a felony in the United States of America? Which one is not a felony? A, arson. B, DUI. C, kidnapping. Or D, rape. Which one is not a felony? Why was he called the lipstick killer, Lisa? He put ladies' lipstick on himself after he killed them and then would kiss them on the cheek. Yeah. But which one is not a felony and has never been a felony in the history of the United States? Arson, DUI, kidnapping, or rape? D. Okie dokie. Going with D, DUI. B, DUI. Just DUI. B. Ew. Yeah. if you watch the documentary about the actor who played Herman Munster, it is very eye-opening. Herman Munster. From the Munsters, obviously. And I'm just trying to see if I can picture him. He's that tall guy. He did some acting besides that. Was it Eddie Munster? I think Eddie Munster went into music. The actor who played Eddie Munster. I think he was in music for a while. I don't know. Maybe he still is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know if he's still alive. It's been a long time. Which of these is not a felony, has never been a felony? The correct answer is B, DUI. DUIs have never been a felony in the United States. Next one, going out to Bernie Madoff, who just recently passed away in prison. Which of the following did he say in court after being found guilty? What did he say? A, I needed their money. B, I apologize to my victims, but it isn't going to change anything. C, you can't convict me of that. Or D, only the little people pay taxes. What did Bernie Madoff say after he was found guilty in court? I needed their money. I apologize to the victims, but it isn't going to change anything. Or C, you can't convict me of that. Or D, only little people pay taxes. I'm a man of God, only little peeps pay taxes. Rich S., did you ever cover the Phillip Adams crime? Interesting case. I started to. I did. That's how far I got. Phillip Adams and the names and ages of all his victims. That's as far as I got. I started to do it. I got my rough notes, the names and ages and stuff like that, and I started to write out the script of what an outline of what I wanted to get through in the video, and that I started to do a little bit more research about when did he receive his first concussion. Did he ever have concussions when he was in high school or in college? And if so, were they ever reported? And that's when I stumbled upon the fact that he did not qualify for compensation underneath the CTE program in the NFL as an NFL player for concussions. He missed the deadline because of length of time of employment in NFL to get compensation underneath that. So when his playing career was over with, he was just cast aside. So I was like, well, could that have led to, what he did? And I started looking into that. And that's about as far as I got. And it is a very sad case. It's a tragic case. I mean, 5 people that lost their lives that never should have. But thanks for asking. So Bernie Madoff. How old am I? Do I look old? I probably do. I'm 51. I got a lot of gray hair. What did Bernie Madoff say in court? I apologize to my victims. Is what it, is. I apologize to my victims. What I did isn't going to change anything. The D, only little people pay taxes. Does anybody actually know who said that? No. Most days I feel old. My body's wore out. But the bonus question though, does anybody remember who said only little people pay taxes? I want to see if anybody remembers that. Donald Trump? No. Good guess though. Amelia? No. Well, I'll tell you. Only little people pay taxes was Leona Helmsley. You're 35? 35 is young. I was exposed to COVID 8 days ago, Zelda. Well, don't do that, sweetheart. You don't want no COVID. It's not fun. I know all the cool kids are getting it, Zelda, but trust me, sweetheart, it is not as much fun as everybody, leads on to believe. Don't listen to all of them. So don't get it. Next question is about Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate, the victim of the Manson family murders. We all know that Sharon Tate was a beauty queen, but at what age did she win her first beauty contest? How old was Sharon Tate when she won her first beauty contest? A, 2 months old. B, 10 years old. C, 16 years old. Or D, 6 months old. How old was Sharon Tate when she won her first beauty contest? You're what? You're old enough to be Will's mom. Your son is 50. Yeah. Murder trivia is not your thing. Yeah, I think some of these questions cross lines of between murder trivia, pop culture. I mean, Sharon Tate, obviously she was an actress, and a beauty star. All right, hold on a second. She did movies, television. She was a beauty queen. I mean, but obviously she was a victim of a horrific crime, the Manson family murders. He was born December 1969 when you were 17 years old. My mom, Zelda, was 18 when I was born. With all the years comes knowledge. Sharon Tate, how old was she when she won her first beauty contest? The correct answer is D. She was 6 months old. She was crowned Miss Tiny Tot in Dallas, Texas. Tiny Tot. Miss Tiny Tot. And interesting side note to that, Sharon Tate went to the same high school as me and my wife. She was crowned beauty queen here. She was also crowned Miss Autorama, and she was supposed to run for like the state beauty queen contest, but instead they decided to pull out of it and never actually ran for the state beauty contest. But I got PG when I spent a week with Alice Cooper, March 1969. But in school out of the summer, everyone says no, I'm wrong, but I know I'm not. She knew Bruce Lee is good enough for me. Have I ever been to jail? If that's too personal, no, I've never been to jail. But next question is about Sharon Tate again. Sharon Tate's mother, Doris Tate, went on to become a victim's right advocate after her murder. What piece of legislation did Doris Tate get passed in 28 states? What piece of legislation did Doris Tate get passed in 28 states after her daughter's murder? A, victims' compensation law, making compensation for the victims. B, the Sharon Tate law, which gave the families the right to speak to the press if they wanted to or not. C, victims' statement to be read in court and at parole hearings. Or D, a sealment of the facts around an actual case when the case is of a serious crime nature. What did Sharon Tate's mother, Doris Tate, get passed in 28 states? No conjugal visits. That Sharon and Roman Polanski and all of them they were in the right place. And just the Manson family, they wanted to start a race war, and they had planned on going there to and doing this crime to start a race war. Don't forget when they came and arrested Charlie, he was hiding in a bathroom vanity underneath a sink. I am still here. You cannot see me, but I am still here. My fascination with true crime. Do you want to know? I'll give you the quick, short version of it. So, as I said earlier, a friend of mine and my wife's was murdered, and me and my friend, who one way or another, okay, he was related to the crime itself and the actual murder. We wanted to go to the parole hearing, and before that was it was coming up in a couple of months. But I wanted to refresh my mind, after all the years that he had been in prison, and I wanted to refresh my mind before I went to the parole board hearing to give my statement on why they should deny him parole. And I went online to look up the information, and I couldn't find any of the news articles from the newspaper at the time because they hadn't archived them to an online database. But I was able to find some YouTube videos. And those YouTube videos that I found, I watched them, and they were all lies. 100% of the content that was in there, except for the main players, the names of the people who were in it in the actual case, was true. But the facts around the case, how he killed him, where he killed him, what he did afterwards, all of it was a lie. And I absolutely freaking lost my shit, man. I can't. I'm not going to hold back on it, but I did. I lost my shit on it, and I was so pissed. So I went to my wife and I said, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to tell everybody the real facts around this case. If nobody watches it, at least it'll be on YouTube in case somebody else searches it in the future, and they can say, look, there's the real facts of what happened in this case. So I got all the documentation I could from all the family members, from everybody who was part of the case, who testified, everything. I got it all together, and I made a video of it. And of course, nobody watched it. So then I started researching, like, why aren't people watching this video? Why am I not getting any likes, or what am I doing wrong? And I started looking into it. And that is how I started my YouTube channel and my journey for the truth. And FYI, he has been paroled. The day after he killed our friends, he came to my house and wanted to hide in my basement. True fact. All right. What piece of legislation did Doris Tate get passed in 28 states after the death of her daughter? The correct answer is C, victim's statement. You can have it read at the trial and at all parole hearings. Before then, it was hit or miss. They didn't have to let you give a victim statement. Most defense attorneys would object to it. Anybody saying something like that in a courtroom before sentencing. So, but she got it passed in 28 states. I wasn't reading. All right. Have you thought about making a cooking channel? I know it's weird, but you're talking about Chris Watt's prison food made me hungry. I used to actually have a cooking channel here on YouTube. I really did. It was called Dad Can Cook. And it was, nobody liked it. I gave it a shot for about 6 months. I think I had maybe 10 or 15 people who watched it. So I said, I'm obviously not going to, be able to do a gourmet cooking channel, but I had one. Didn't make prison food. or jail food. Judy, I didn't let him in my house. So the guy that killed our friend was a door to door. He was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners, and I was sitting on my porch one day. He wanted to come give me a demonstration of how the vacuum cleaner can work and how great it is. And I'm like, piss off, go away. And I mean, I knew him. I knew his brothers. I knew his dad. And I knew the entire family. And he wanted to give me a demonstration. He plugged it in, started vacuuming the fake AstroTurf that's on my front porch. And I'm like, great. Well, now you can go home. Take your vacuum cleaner and go home. And he left. And the day after he killed our friend and came to my house and wanted to hide in the basement of our house, well, he asked for my sister, which was kind of fucking bizarre because they don't get along and they've never liked each other. But he wanted to hide, he's like, oh, I need some place to hide. And I'm like, well, you're not hiding here. Go away. You'd have to know the whole situation of the family and everything else. My best friend was dating his father. So in a weird way, he was all connected to everybody, but nobody liked him and his brother at all. They still don't. But he's out walking the streets right now. All right, next question. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. The Unabomber sent a bulk of his bombs targeting what? What pissed off Ted Kaczynski, and what did he send the bulk of his bombs targeting what? A, airlines. B, academia. C, the press. Or D, people he didn't like. What did Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, send the bulk of his bombs to? Targeting. Fun fact, Chris Watts will never eat a steak for the rest of his existence. Unless it's tube steak. Again, you have no idea. The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. He hated the modern world. I watched the documentary. His brother turned him in. Yeah. You want to have that on here? Yeah. That little sad cabin is actually in a museum right now. The museum, it's in it's in the crime museum. I can't remember. I think it's in Texas. But they picked up the entire cabin and they strapped it together so it wouldn't fall apart, and they moved the entire thing that he lived in, and it's inside in a museum. And they took pictures of how everything was set up inside there, so you can go and see the actual little cabin, exactly how it was, and how he lived in there. Still don't know why chat answers before question. I don't know, Anna. Could be a delay. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, sent the bulk of his bombs targeting what? A, airlines, B, academia, C, the press, or D, people he didn't like? Any idea why everyone is obsessed about Christopher Watts? Rich, it's the psychology behind it. I mean, if you want to look up the entire picture of the Watts family, you have to look at the image that they portrayed to the world out there. Shannon, with her social media presence on Facebook and in their community and with Thrive, they look like, from the outside looking in, they look like the perfect family that raised themselves up, and they were doing so well from the outside. So there's that aspect of it, like why people are so enamored by the case, and the events, and well, Christopher Watts to some extent, and without knowing the turmoil that was going on inside that actual home itself. And then there's a psychology behind it. But how does somebody who had all of this, how do they decide one day just to get rid of everything? And people just want to know. They want to know the answer. It's like maybe they there's something that they can learn from it, so they can if they can put that, well, if that's what it is over here, or if this is it, then I can say this is how to stop it, or I know somebody who acts just like that and he has those signs, and I can stop that person from doing it. So psychology. You're too much of a coward to commit murder. The fact that I would never be able to walk to the store and buy a beer. Yeah, that would suck. All right, Ted Kaczynski, what did the Unabomber send the bulk of his bombs targeting? The correct answer is B as in boy, academia. 10 of the 16 bombs that he sent went to target academia. Interesting thing about Ted Kaczynski that maybe a lot of you guys don't. There's a couple things here actually that you may not know about Ted Kaczynski. One, he entered Harvard University on his 16th birthday. He was 16 years old when he entered into Harvard. During his lifetime, growing up, he skipped several grades before graduating, obviously way earlier than 16. But on top of that, when he went to Harvard University, he was part of a program that actually psychologically tortured him for a period of time by Professor Henry Murray, who in the psychology field, if you've ever studied psychology, you probably have come across several of the papers that Henry Murray has written. Matter of fact, this camera is sitting on one of my wife's textbooks for abnormal psychology, and there are several of his actual papers in that textbook long after he's died. But he was very well respected in the psychology field, but he ran these programs, that where students were paid, but they psychologically tortured them, and abused them, mentally, to see how they would deal with their environment. And Ted Kaczynski was part of that program at Harvard, and that's why he hated academia so much. That in the modern world. All right. Next question is about Kaczynski, and this is the final question, ladies and gentlemen, for the night. How much money did his brother get for turning him in? Ted Kaczynski's brother is the one who turned him into the FBI for the reward. How much money did his brother get? A, $2 million. B, $5 million. C, $3 million. Or D, $1 million. How much money did his brother get for turning his brother in? A, $2 million, B, $5 million, C, $3 million, or D, $1 million. $5. $350. $350 going to Disneyland. Oh yeah, he got it. He kept it. And in case you're wondering, in case you have information to turn in somebody for, being a serial killer or a serial bomber, like your brother or your sister, it's tax free. There are no taxes withheld from a reward that is given to you for turning someone in. Good to know, huh? So in case you know somebody that's a serial killer or a serial bomber, go ahead and turn them in for the reward money. It's tax free. You're welcome, Rich. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Do you hear a fish tank? No, I do not. I have several fish tanks, but I don't have any actual fish that are alive. The last fish we had were, they call those, I want to say they were the Cosmos, the algae eaters. All the fish died a long time ago. I used to have poisonous dart frogs in a terrarium, but I got a batch of crickets that from PetSmart, killed them all within like days. Because the crickets had all been, I guess they had fleas or something, and they had given them all some kind of medication to get rid of the fleas or whatever was in with the crickets. And without me even knowing about it, I got them, came home, put them in my aquarium, killed them all. I had so much money involved in that terrarium. It was a 40-gallon terrarium, huge terrarium. But how much money did Ted Kaczynski's brother get for turning him in? $2 million, $5 million, $3 million, or $1 million? Flight 93 was shot down. They don't want to give you nothing for that one, Mr. Frosty? Lisa, I think they have to be convicted, yes. It's information, lead to the arrest and conviction. Normally, and you'd have to look at the wording on it, but sometimes they give away rewards like that for just turning them in, and it doesn't have to lead to a conviction. So, but most of the time, though, I'd say 9 times out of 10, they always have that little caveat in there that it has to be information leading to the arrest and conviction. So. But for the federal government, I don't know about the state, but for the federal government, it's tax-free. Rick Jim Hill, judge, damn near killed me. Cereal can't spell. Thank God you're an only child, cement shoes. My wife's an only child. Good night, Anna. And thank you again for joining us tonight. How much money did Theodore Kaczynski's brother get for turning him in? Ladies and gentlemen, he got $1 million tax-free. $1 million for turning his brother in. want free money. Need diesel from my old Rhino Traps crazy bus we just got. We spent $2 million on therapy. Good night, Lisa. Thank you for joining us tonight, Lisa. Now, play nice, ladies and gentlemen. Play nice. $1 million tax-free. For $1 million, you'd open up a business. You can open up a business for a lot less than $1 million, but it'd be a nice nest egg. Draw my line here so I know where we stopped. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I still have 25 more that we haven't gone through yet. Taking the crazy bus to get an oil change, $500 oil change. Gosh, it's not even worth that much. Better than a lottery, but it's who you know, right? Yeah, I took my wife's car in to get an oil change, Zelda, and they told us that they couldn't do it because they didn't have the right oil filter for her car. And I'm like, how could you not have, this is the dealership, how could you not have the right oil filter for the car? And they're like, we ran out. At least it's still free because underneath the bumper warranty she has on it. But $500 for an oil change, that's a lot of money. But then again, that big motorhome, that's a lot of oil. Normal is overrated. Sounds boring. In those circumstances, I donate it to the victim's charity. I think I from what I've read about Kaczynski's brother was he bought a house, and he probably spent some money on other things. So he probably blew it all. But $1 million tax free, returning your brother. I don't know, what is a Borgward in the 1970s? Is a sister to a Benz? So I have to take my wife's car back on Thursday to get an oil change because it's due. Well, the car tells me it's due. It tells me right on the dash, time for oil change. You have blank. I think it's like 60 more miles. I just hope it doesn't go into limp mode again, like it did last time when if the computer system sensed that there was low tire pressure on the passenger side rear, it went into limp mode. It wouldn't do over 35 miles an hour. The car wouldn't go any faster. It didn't matter how much you pushed on the gas pedal. Wouldn't go over 35. I'll look it up, Zelda. The most bizarre car that I've ever owned in my life was a Peugeot. I had a diesel Peugeot station wagon. Me and my wife rented a house that it used to have home heating oil. It had one of these big, huge above ground tanks in the backyard, the back of the house. I mean, it wasn't hooked up to the house because they just cut the line, capped it for, and nobody wanted to get rid of it because, well, how do you get rid of it? but I was going to cut it up and turn it into a barbecue grill because we were renting the house. And the homeowners were like, yeah, you want to do something with it, go right ahead, knock yourself the hell out. We don't care. As long as you take it with you whenever you guys move out. And I was like, all right. And that's what I really planned on doing, was filling it full of water, getting out the plasma torch and just cutting it in half and turning it into a big barbecue grill. But I found out that it was half full of freaking diesel, home heating oil still, and there's no difference between that and the diesel you'd buy for your car. They put a different colored dye in it, and they add detergent to the stuff that you actually put in your car. But otherwise, it's the same fuel. So for, I think it was 3 months, I ran that car with free gas, diesel, fuel. I had a 1970s Roadrunner. Man, that thing was fast. The coolest car you ever had was a 72 Grand Prix. My dad had a Saab. I got electrocuted working on a Saab. That wasn't fun. We were working on something, and I accidentally was down below underneath the car, and I reached up like this, and I put my hand on the top of by the fender to balance myself. When I went to go stand up, but I had a wrench in my hand, and I went from the positive to the negative terminal on the battery with the wrench in my hand. Not a fun car. It's a truck, not a must. I own a 1999 Chevy S10. I drive a 1996 Dodge 1500. The paint's peeling on it. Looks uglier and snot from the outside, but the damn thing it's gonna run forever. 1996 Dodge 1500 gets me everywhere. Sorry, but it struck me funny. I'm sorry that happened. Not as much as I was. Yeah, that gave me a nice shock. 50,000-mile Lincoln Town Car. You should see some of the cars. Zelda. My wife's father lives in Eugene, and he's got he's got a cherried out. So it'd be a 59 Volkswagen Bug. It's got the roof rack on it, everything. Perfect condition. He almost never takes it anywhere except for the car shows. He's got a Shelby GT in his garage as well. And you know what the man drives every day? A Subaru Outback. He doesn't drive any of the things that are in his garage. My door panels are falling off. Any Ford product is well made. Is that a question, Judy? I don't know. I got a 1970, Ford F100 that I've been working on it's in the other garage. It's up on blocks right now because I've been working on the replacing. I have to replace the rear springs on the one side because they've just rotted out. I'll probably end up replacing most of the rear end on it. We'll find out as I dig into it. But the motor's still sitting on the stand. I'll eventually get that done. Drove it to the poor side of town, and all the guys were offering to buy it. They turned them into lowriders. It was hilarious to see what they're doing with town cars. Oh, no, Fords are good cars. I've had, there isn't any one, car or truck or anything that, that is been the best. I've had good Chevys. I've had bad Chevys. I've had good Fords and I've had bad Fords. Um, it all depends on if you buy them new or if they've been abused and then put away wet. I one of the most reliable cars that I ever had. I had that would have been like a '76 Datsun. I think it was like a B111 or something like that. Not the truck, but it was actual car. But that damn thing would run. It didn't matter what the temperature was outside. It could be 10 degrees or 10 below zero, and I'd get in and that thing would start up every time. Ran like a champ. Unsafe to be in, but it would run. Your dad had an International that he loved like a baby. I had an International Scout, which kind of looks like the Ford Bronco. I had an International Scout when I was in high school. I love my GMC Jimmy, but the doors are a problem. I've never owned a GMC Jimmy. Not bad vehicles, looking vehicles though. An old Army ambulance. It keeps in just in case the end of the world, no computer, etc. That's cool. A block away from here, Okie dokie, is one of those. It's the Army transport, but it's made by Mercedes Benz. It's still painted just like it was when the guy got it. He actually had it imported here. Him and some other people that we know are independent filmmakers, and they actually used it as a prop in one of the movies that they were shooting. They've since finished the movie. Now they need to sell the vehicle off, but they actually had it imported from it. It went from I want to say Germany to Canada, from Canada to it was brought in that way. It's the United States. And welcome to the channel membership, Lisa. You get paranoid, Coolie Dog? There's no reason to get paranoid. You had a yellow Scout. It was horrible. My goat used to go everywhere in that Scout. That's the Scout that I had, Zelda, when I was in high school. I rolled that thing so many times in the sand, out in the dunes, like literally put it on its roof. And we just yanked it back over with a tow rope. And you would never have known that I rolled that thing on its roof. It was built that strong. I abused the snot out of that thing. And it always ran. It didn't run really well after I rolled it. It sat up on its roof overnight. Had to pull the spark plugs and clean out all the oil out of it. But after that, it ran. Friends detectives. Selling your 30-foot travel trailer outside. One slide out is nice. 10 years old. Cougar. I have that problem right now, Zelda. I have it's a 27-foot Comfort travel trailer. I don't have no idea why I bought it. I'm gonna probably use it once a year. Because right now, my wife she's not into camping. My daughter is not into camping. My son, maybe when he gets a little bit older, I can get him to go somewhere with me. But I'll probably use it once a year. That would be. all my friends this past weekend were in Westport. They all went out fishing out there. I can't remember what they call it, what they're fishing for. Some kind of bottom fish. I don't know, halibut or something. I don't know. COVID cover. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up this stream. Thank you again for everybody who joined in, and I hope you had fun. And I will see you all again next Sunday. Again, same time, same channel. Or is it what Batman? They used to say about Batman, same time, same bat channel, something like that. Yeah, obviously I'm getting a little goofy because I'm getting tired. It's been a long day already. But thank you again, everyone. I appreciate it. And welcome to the channel membership. Lisa. I thought there was somebody else too. But I hope I didn't forget anybody. Well, if I did, I'm sorry. Again, thank you very much, everyone. And you all have a great week ahead. Stay safe out there.